All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Kendall Howell. I am the Customer Success Manager at Blocksi. We appreciate your time today. I just wanted to do a little light housekeeping. As I'm going through to discuss the topic today around our video conferencing on our teacher dashboard, if you have any questions, please feel free to enter those questions on the questions pane for the GoToWebinar control panel. I will circle back at the end and answer any questions that are in that section, so please feel free to insert your questions there as we go along or at the end. I also have our video conferencing data sheet as well as our teacher dashboard data sheet. It is posted under handouts. So feel free to take those and download those so that you can take a look at that as well. So the topic of discussion today is going to be around our video conferencing tool that's located in our teacher dashboard. Some of the advantages that I would like to point out is that our conferencing tool is built especially for the K-12 environment. So with that, it abides by all of the student privacy laws. Because it is tied to the school domain, there's no Zoom bombing, for example. So, it initializes immediately on the student's device once the teacher initializes the conference. It pops up on the student's devices immediately, so the students do not have to have an external link that's given to them. There's no code that they have to enter. There's nowhere that they're redirected to log in to access the conference. It is going to be immediately initialized, and that is because it's tied to that school domain. Our platform, too, with our conferencing has been, because it's designed for that K-12 infrastructure, it's not a commercial platform, which you'll find, Zoom, Google Meets, things like that. We're definitely designed more for the enterprise space. So that's definitely an advantage with Blocksi being designed for the K-12 infrastructure. Along with that, not only do you get your audio video monitoring with Blocksi through this conferencing tool, but you're also able to do all of the screen monitoring for all of the students' devices from your teacher dashboard. That helps teachers because it's one platform that they manage to do everything. Everything runs a lot smoother if you use both. So if you use video conferencing as well as the teacher classroom management system, and it goes inside because it talks to each other very smoothly. So that is where you can have the advantage of, having that audio video capability within the teacher dashboard so that you can see the students physically and hear them and have a virtual class, but you can also have all of the commands and see what the kids are doing on their devices as well, all in one platform. You also have screen sharing capability as well. So while you are conducting a conference session, it's very easy for the teacher to share their screen to everyone or to the individuals. And that's a great feature for those remote learning settings where students are coming in and the teacher is trying to demonstrate what the kids need to do, show them instructions, show them how to navigate somewhere, whatever the case is. They're easily able to share their screen while having that conference. As well, there is the ability to record all of the conference sessions. So this does enable your teachers to save full session recordings. They can also hop on and pre-record any sessions that they would like, and then they will have the capability to download those sessions and save those so that they can share those out at a later date. With our conferencing tool, we have those granular controls. So there's two different layouts to choose from. The dominant speaker layout, that is one-to-one between the student and the teacher. I will show you demo that layout as well as the tile layout. Tile layout is going to be one that is more familiar if you are using and familiar with Zoom or Google Meets. The tile layout is going to be similar to that, where the student can see their peers, the teacher sees all of the students that are in the conference on one window, and everybody can hear everyone, that type of setting. So I will demo both of those. You can also create breakout rooms with our conferencing tool so that you can have different groups, running in different conference sessions simultaneously, or you can have just your few groups that you want in a conference and the rest of the students not in a conference, or only one group running in a conference and no one else. So you do have the ability to create those breakout rooms. You can also, of course, control as the teacher, the presenter there, you can toggle your audio or video on and off there. As well, you are in control of the audio settings for the students, so you can mute and unmute students one by one or all together. There's also what we call a raise hand feature for the students, and that is when the conference pops up on their device and it is going and they are muted, maybe that they can't figure out how to come off of mute, or if they've been muted by the teacher, they can click on raise hand and it notifies the teacher that they are requesting to come off of mute, or maybe that they have a question. So lots of different granular controls with our conferencing tool. So what we'll do now is head over to that Blocksi teacher dashboard here, and I'm going to start my class. That way I can demo. Oops, I have another active class. I apologize. Let me stop this class really quick so I can hop into my biology class, and I will demo the different conference layouts. Again, that dominant speaker layout as well as the tile layout. All right. So I'm going to start my class. And the conference here, I'm going to go ahead and choose to do the dominant speaker layout first. Notice also up here, this is where you can check the box easily if you're choosing to record a session. Once I go through these different options for the layout conferencings, I'll show you where to retrieve any recordings that you choose to record. I'll hit dominant speaker layout. What happens is on my device, I am logged in on my Chromebook as student 003. Once the teacher hits that dominant speaker layout in conference mode, it pops up immediately on my Chromebook. What happens as well for the student view is when that window pops up, these two icons are automatically turned red, so it's off, meaning that they're muted and that their camera is not showing. So as the teacher, you can notice the little audio icons here that will be on each individual student. So you can mute and unmute that student. You will have controls of that, but because of student privacy laws, the students do have to click their camera icon and turn it green from their device. So if you're not seeing a camera connected here, that means that the student has not yet hit that button and turned it to green to share their webcam, okay? Of course, what you're seeing on this screen right now is you are seeing the teacher yourself. If you're running the conference here, you're seeing that view. You're seeing the student on their device here. You're also able to see what the students are doing on their devices. So I'm going to navigate somewhere. Here you can see what Kindle student 003 is doing on their device, while also seeing that student. So if they're taking an assessment or a quiz, for example, you will be able to monitor and see that student taking that quiz or test. And you will also see that it is, in fact, that student, that it's not mom or dad or older brother, older sister, or a friend that's jumping on and taking the test from home for that student. Also, as I mentioned, this is where the student only sees you as the teacher. They will not see their peers in this mode. This is also where you as the teacher will only see one student at a time. You can click on this arrow here. From there is a list of all of the students that you have in that class, and you can switch back and forth between your students very easily. Of course, I don't have any other students in my class right now, so that's why I'm not seeing their camera detected here. But this is where you can easily click back and forth if your students are in your class and you've initiated the conference. When it pops up on the student screen immediately, they can either maximize it and make it full screen. They can resize it so that it can be half of their screen and then they can work on the other half, or they can minimize it so that they can work full screen and then pull that, audio video conferencing back up as needed. You also will be able to see that from their device, they have that raise hand feature that I mentioned. When they raise their hand, it will notify you here. So it will be the yellow hand that waves, and that lets you know that that student has a question or is requesting to come off of mute. All right, that's going to be the dominant speaker layout. Now to demo the tile layout here. With the tile layout, be what is a more familiar layout if you've used other conferencing tools, of course, before. So in this view, this is where the students will see all of their peers. They'll see you as the teacher. You as the teacher will see all of your students at one time. And because I'm the only student in this class, this is why you're only seeing me here. But to give you a better visual of what that will look like, if you have a full class, you will see all of your students here on one window pane. This way you can see everybody. You'll notice all of the audio controls for each of the students are located at the bottom right-hand corner of each student's screen, a little tile here. That's where you can control the audio individually. So if you notice, once you initiate this tile version here, you have this mute all at the bottom. So you, of course, can keep it open. If you keep it open, that's where everybody can be heard, everybody can speak at one time. If you don't want it opened up like a true classroom setting like that, like if you don't want everyone speaking over everyone, or you don't want someone speaking out of turn, if you just have a question that you want one individual to answer or a group of individuals only to answer, you can select to mute all, and that will mute every single student. And then each of the students will have their audio controls here so that they can easily go in and mute and unmute here so that you can allow the ones you want unmuted to be unmuted and the ones you want muted to be muted. You'll notice here also is very convenient for you to click on share so that you can have this audio video conferencing back and forth as a true classroom, and you can share your screen. So it's like if you're standing up at a whiteboard, teaching something there, you can do the same capabilities here by sharing your screen very easily to project on the students' devices so that they will still be in the conference and have that going while also seeing what's on your screen. With that said, you can also do all of the controls here from your teacher dashboard while you're running a conference as well. Don't forget, is same with the dominant speaker layout. It's the same here with the tile layout. You can still see what those students are doing on their devices. So if we pretend for this moment that Kendall's working on the test, I can see that Kendall is working on the test here. And then from my conferencing window, I can see it is, in fact, Kendall that's taking that test. All right. Last thing, they still have that raise hand feature also with the towel mode. So if I click raise hand from my student device here and go back to my conference window, I can see that Kendall, this raised her hand and she is requesting to come off of mute. So as a teacher, I can easily unmute her. Okay. The next thing is setting up the breakout rooms. So that is an option with our conferencing also. From the top here, this group icon, you can click on the group here. From this drop-down menu, you will just hit Create New, give the group a name. And then from here at the bottom drop-down menu, you'll have a list of all of the students that are in your class, and you will just select the students that you want to add to this particular group. I already have some of my groups created. So I have group A, group B, and a single student. You can create a breakout room for a single student if you just want to have a conference with that student, for example. So if I click on group A here, I see the option to start conference for that group. So it would just start group A and put them in a conference session. Or I have the option to start all breakout rooms here at the bottom. When I do all breakout rooms here, this means that each group is running in a conference separately in their own individual, depending on which group they're in, but I have my breakout rooms running simultaneously. So here I can click on this arrow. It's going to show me the students that are in group A. If I click on the arrow for group B, it shows me the students that are currently in the video conference in group B, and then I can see my single student who that is in a conference session. As the teacher, I can hit connect and connect into my different breakout rooms so I can go back and forth and in and as I please. So I just connected into group A. The students that I have designated in this group are not online, so they are not in this conference, but ideally, of course, you would have a full class full of students. Your students would be here, so you would see all of the students in this group, and the teacher can pop in and out here. So they can go back and forth between those breakout rooms very easily. And they can also stop individual groups. So you can either hit stop conference and stop all of the breakout rooms at the same time, or if you have a particular group, if I no longer want group B in a session, I can click on stop and just have my group A and a single student in a conference at this time. So as the teacher, by clicking connect and disconnect, all that's doing is connecting you into the room. And when you hit disconnect, that is taking you out of that room as the teacher, but it's not ending that breakout room, okay? To end a specific breakout room, you will hit stop there. Okay, and then again, if you want to stop them all at the same time, you'll just click here on stop conference, and that will end your breakout session. If you record any of your conferences, you can retrieve those conferences if you click on Blocksi Teacher Dashboard at the top left here. From the main Blocksi Teacher Dashboard login page where all of the classes are housed, there's two different ways to retrieve your recordings. If you notice the conference recordings here, that's going to be all of your conference recordings across all of your different classes as a teacher. So it'll show you the class name, the date. This is where you can download and save or delete the recordings. To help you find it quicker, if you're looking for a specific video from one of your classes only, you'll notice that the recordings are housed under each class as well. So if you click on that, I can see just my recordings for biology here, for example. All right, that is going to cover the video conferencing feature from our teacher dashboard. We would love to talk to you more about this, as we have lots of great features for distance learning, those hybrid situations that you're facing. We have great teacher dashboard classroom management in place. And with that, this video conferencing tool really is just another great way that we're really trying to help make it easier for districts with all of these challenges and circumstances. So please, for more information about the product, to set up any demos or free trials, and or to get pricing around our video conferencing tool, our teacher dashboard, or any of our other solutions, please feel free to contact us. If you'll reach out to the sales alias at sales@blocksi.net. You can also reach us by phone number at 1-877-693-4822. And we have different avenues to communicate as well. If you visit our website, Blocksi.net, you'll also find a lot of information there for our product offerings and even further information on what we've covered today. Just as a reminder, I did post 2 of the data sheets for the video conferencing and the teacher dashboard that's located on the GoToWebinar control panel. So please feel free to take a look at that. I did have one question in the questions pane, and it was from Myra Flores. Hi, Myra. Thanks for joining. Can we use Clever with Blocksi? Yes, you can use Clever with Blocksi. So we roster, that's a way for your teachers to roster and for you to integrate with your student information systems through Clever, ClassLink, and Google Classroom. Myra asks, does this dashboard have a remote option? And to answer your question, yes, Blocksi works in school and out of school. You can set, if you do the filtering policies, you can set an in-school policy and the same out-of-school policy or a different out-of-school policy. For the teacher dashboard, you can set up a schedule so that teachers can monitor and have their classrooms maybe from Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., for example, but outside of that, they wouldn't be able to monitor. If you don't set any times, then it works for both in and out of school, yes. That will conclude our webinar today. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Take care and stay safe out there.